My name's Chanterelle. I'm your Adirondack nature guide, and today I'm going to take a walk in a spruce fir forest with some peatland character in search of a very special mushroom. I welcome you along for the experience. Well, back beyond the edge of this forest with the spruces and firs and maples, I can see an area that has a thick bed of sphagnum moss. That's peat moss. So it makes this a very good place to cut in. American nature writer Henry David Thoreau, in his essay Walking, refers to wild places as holy, and peatland environments in particular as the sanctum sanctorum, the holy of holies. And I have to agree, because when I step into a place like this, tall spruce fir forest with a thick bed of sphagnum moss in the understory, one of the first things that my senses pick up on as I step into a place like this is that it seems there's not an inch of space that is not inhabited by some living plant that isn't just so vibrant and vital and full of life. Well, let's continue to saunter through this peatland environment, what Henry David Thoreau would refer to as the sanctum sanctorum. We just went through a layer of balsam fir trees, and now we're about to step into a zone in this forest where there's a lot of red spruce and a few black spruce right up ahead here. And that says to me we're entering into some of the ideal habitat for this particular species of mushroom. Are you getting excited? I am. Wow. This is a beautiful peatland environment. Thick bed of peat moss. Plants like gold thread, star flowers, and balsam fir, red maple, all popping up from within this thick mat of sphagnum moss. Just to give you an idea of how thick this stuff grows, I brought a metal rod with me. It's about 3.5 feet long. Let's stick this in and see how far it goes. Okay, I don't want to put it in any further because I won't be able to get it out. But this peatland is much thicker than the length of this rod. Okay, now I need to get it out. Yeah, so this stuff is very thick. It's growing on top of itself and providing a mat for all the life that grows here. Here's a little brown mushroom growing among this peat moss. This is not the one we're looking for, though. I would say shy away from picking little brown mushrooms that you can't say anything more than it's a little brown mushroom. There's some little brown mushrooms like this one, and this may be one of them. That's very toxic. So, but the one we're looking for has a hole straight down through the top. You'll see what I mean in a moment. We found them. Here they are. The yellowfoot trumpet chanterelle mushroom with the scientific name Craterellus tubiformis. And I'll give you a closer look at one of these mushrooms so you can see the identifying characteristics. Here's a nice patch of them. This is a good specimen to show you. If you look down through the top, you see it has that hollow stem, a hole in the middle,
and it kind of has the shape of a trumpet as it opens towards the top, right? So hole in the middle, brown cap, a little bit of a wavy edge, and on the underside you have these gills that connect to the stalk, and the stalk itself is this orangish yellow color. Those are your identifying characteristics of the yellowfoot trumpet chanterelle. Since there's a lot of them growing right here at this spot, I feel good about harvesting a couple and taking them home for my lunch. One thing I will say, I never eat these raw. They always need to be cooked, and I like to include these in a good stir fry with some vegetables. I think it's pretty tasty. It has an earthy flavor to it. By the way, I do not recommend picking and eating wild mushrooms unless you have done thorough amounts of studying and observation and have consulted with somebody who knows their mushrooms. Don't just go out and pick mushrooms and think everyone's edible. There are some very toxic ones you want to avoid. But I've done my research, and these are a good edible for me, and when I enjoy harvesting when I visit places like this, and if there's an abundant crop of them. Here we stand in this sanctum sanctorum, a place filled with abundant life, and a place of wonder. And the yellow-footed trumpet chanterelle, I think, has the ability to help us to ponder a very important question. What is the forest made of? The forest is made of trees, of mushrooms, of birds, and other animals. But as we take a closer look into the life of this particular mushroom, a deeper truth is revealed. The yellow-footed trumpet chanterelle grows in close association with spruces, firs, and other coniferous trees. And so this mushroom is the fruiting body of a fungi that is known to make mycorrhizal connections between the trees and the forest. The fungi is able to access nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus from the soil. The trees, like these balsam fir trees and red spruce trees behind me, are able to make energy through photosynthesis, using sunlight and water to produce carbon. There's something very special that has to do with the relationship between this fungi and these trees. The trees gift the fungi with carbon produced through photosynthesis, while the fungi gifts the trees with nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus that it accesses through the soil. And beyond that, the fungi is a resource distributor in the forest, helping trees that are producing an abundance of energy to share their excess energy with trees that are in a energy deficiency at any point in the growing season. In addition, when there is an insect infestation, like wood-boring beetles, and one tree starts to get infested, it will produce a chemical defense that inhibits the beetle's ability to infest that particular tree. The fungi, notice when one tree is starting to produce defensive chemicals to ward off a pathogen. And when the fungi notices that, it sends signals to all the other trees that are part of that mycorrhizal connection. Think of it like the internet. You know, they're all connected. It sends signals to the rest of the trees in the forest, so these other trees can start producing their defensive chemical before the insects even show up. This is a very profound sense of community, isn't it? And that says to me that the forest at the deepest level is made of really the same kind of fabric that our human communities are made of. Relationships. The forest is made of relationships. And so the next time you're taking a walk through a sanctum sanctorum, a peatland environment, or any forest, or any wild space, I want to invite you to notice the relationships that are on display for you to see and experience. Relationships between plants and animals and fungi. And places like this invite people like you and me into connection. And that's what it means to experience the gift of sauntering, is to discover ourselves as part and parcel of the landscape. The forest is made of relationships. Of course, your life and my life are made of relationships too. And perhaps it's the relationships that really bring into full force the understanding of the forest community, especially some of these places that house the most amazing diversity, as sacred, as holy. It's the relationships. Well, thank you for joining me for this peatland adventure in a beautiful spruce fir forest in the northern Adirondacks. I'll see you next time.